What's up, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down some very important factors involving Tesla stock. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY on invested cash. The offer is very soon, in just about 15 hours from now. Anyways, let's talk about what's happening with the market. So, looking at Tesla and the broader markets, what happened was we saw the market attempt to bounce in the morning. I mentioned I expected the bounce to be temporary. I said to be very careful for Tesla and the others because there's going to be a risk of the market coming down. And so far, that's what happened. Tesla attempts to get back up towards very close to about 428, just under our 429 to 430 area of our targets. But then I mentioned to you all that even if Tesla does push a bit, there could be a risk of that rejection. And Tesla's currently seeing a dip right now back down to 416. So, with that being said, and with that happening, we did see Tesla push and then reject. But the question remains what's going to affect this moving forward. And the next factor is going to be deliveries. So, reports are suggesting that Tesla is going to be expected to release its Q4 2024 production deliveries numbers on Thursday, January 2nd, around 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, for the past couple of years, they've always published these numbers on the second day of the month. If you look at the history, it's always on the second. However, the time it exactly comes out could vary. Typically, it is around 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you look at this historically, the large majority of the time it is around 9 a.m. Sometimes it's a little bit later, but typically, typically it is around that time. So I want to make that very clear that they are scheduled to do this around 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, what this means is that today we have a full trading day. Okay, the market's going to close in just a couple of hours. But then once the market's continues, the market's going to be closed for the new year, which is going to be tomorrow or Wednesday. The stock market's going to be closed. And then for Thursday, the market's going to be opening again. And most likely, Tesla should be releasing the numbers around 9 o'clock a.m. Sometimes they could be a little bit later, but I just want to say that there's a high probability the numbers may come out before market open. And then if that ends up being the case, it could cause Tesla to gap up or gap down big time or make a massive move. And that is very, very difficult to predict. We can't make any promises about that. That's why I want to give you guys a warning about holding Tesla overnight. So if you're holding Tesla overnight, you are risking holding it through deliveries. It's scheduled at 9 o'clock a.m. before market open, and we'll see if that ends up being the case. Typically, that is what ends up happening. Now, there are some of these investors and analysts that have different views. Some are saying Tesla's going to miss its deliveries goal. It's going to be looking for a big drop here and there. Different analysts have different opinions, though. Some other ones are saying Tesla's going to beat and absolutely crush it. So we are expecting around 506,000 as a very, very probable number. That's what the consensus happens to be. We're hopefully going to see Tesla surpass the 500,000 mark, the 500,000 mark for Q4. And then I also want to call out that different analysts are also saying that Tesla should be surpassing 515,000 of these deliveries in total as well. So it all depends. Do we do 500,000 flats? Do we surpass 506,000? Is it 515,000? It's going to cause a very, very big move. So I wouldn't worry too much about the share price for Tesla. We'll be watching to see if we get some kind of big balance and we try to get back above our 50 EMA. If Tesla starts breaking out to the 450s, or if we get a big rug pull, we end up losing 400. Could go either way. I do want to say that technically speaking, though, Tesla is showing some weakness because of the fact that we are making lower highs right here. So we had a high up here, we came down, made a lower high. So there's going to be that risk of this dipping lower, but we'll see just to be safe. Now, as far as SPY goes, the same thing is going on. So what I've been preaching about is the fact that there is this left shoulder on SPY. There's a head up here, then there's this right shoulder. And then when you zoom in to the right shoulder, right, this whole thing is the right shoulder. But notice there's also like a miniature head and shoulders that's also making up the right shoulder. So this push right over here that happened back in the, towards like the, third week of December, we had like a left shoulder here. We also had another head here. Then we had like a right shoulder that formed, and we're still continuing to fall. So you guys could see that SPY was trying to get back above 590. It's not doing the best of jobs at holding above that. And this is exactly what I said would likely happen in my earlier video. I said that there might be a temporary bounce but I used the word temporary to suggest that it's just going to be a temporary move, and there was a risk of some downside. So we're watching this 585 to 586 area as our main support. We'll have to see if SPY could hold this. If we lose 585, we're going to be expecting 580 and then eventually 577. So overall, there is weakness on the chart. We're barely at support, but I just want to say there is a risk of us eventually losing that support as the share price is looking weaker, as we're continuing to see some more sellers stepping in who have a much bigger edge. For Nvidia, the same thing was going on. I talked about in my earlier videos about this inverse cup and handle that could be forming. We need to see Nvidia reclaim 137. Otherwise, we favor a move back down to 133. So please keep that level in mind. For Bitcoin, I mentioned to you all, I wanted to see it break the 4-hour 200 EMA to be bullish. I said if we can't break this 95,800 area, we're going to be looking for a rejection back down. And right now, we're going to be looking for a test of 94,000 flat. If that fails us, we're looking for this imbalance to fill around much lower levels, such as 92,000. So just keep that in mind. That's going to be one of the most likely possibilities. For ES, we have a very similar setup. We have a head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, and then a right shoulder. Notice that we also, within the right shoulder, we also have a head and shoulders. There's like a left shoulder here. There's the head up here. Then we have like another right shoulder. And this typically would suggest downside is very probable for a move back down to about the 5,900 flat area. And then if that fails, we're looking for 5,880. So there is that risk of downside, guys, especially if SPY is just barely holding its supports. So please keep that in mind. For others out there, we have NQ. NQ is looking weaker, same setup. We have like a head and shoulders. We're also making a lower high. This could be suggesting a move back down. It's about 21,250. I said in my morning video that this could be looking for 21,600 and look for a rejection off that. And that's what happened so far. We got that big rejection. The QQQ has a similar setup. We tried to get back above 523. We failed to hold above 520. So we're going to be looking for a move back down. It's about 511. We'll see if 511 holds. If not, this will be dumping lower towards like 507. So please keep that in mind. For Apple, we look a little bit bearish. We're on a bit of a downtrend here. We're not holding above 252, which therefore suggests that 248 is a very strong possibility. So please keep that in mind. For Palantir, we look bearish. We're making a lower high here. We'll have to see if 77 holds. If not, we could be dumping to about 75. For the IWM Russell 2000, I just want to say that this is once again continuing to downtrend. It's making lower highs right now. I do want to say that there's a possible head and shoulders, like a left shoulder here, a head, and then maybe a right shoulder. Unless we could reclaim 224, this is favoring downside back down to about 218. And if that fails, we're going to be looking for a bigger dump, so please keep that in mind. For coin, we're on a very, very big downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. So this could be suggesting more downsides likely coming. We'll have to see if we could reclaim 265. If not, we could be dumping back down towards the low 250 area, then eventually 245. So please keep that in mind. For Amzn, we're also on a bit of a downtrend. We're making lower highs right over here. We have a left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder. We have to try to reclaim 224. Otherwise, we're going to be favoring a move back down to about 218. For Meta is also looking a little bit weaker. We have an inverse cup and handle. We need to try to reclaim 601. Otherwise, we favor downside back down to about 582. If that fails us, we could be dipping lower, but this still looks weak because of the inverse cup and handle. We're going to be looking for 589 as our main support. Otherwise, this favors more downside. Microsoft, same thing. We're on a bit of a downtrend. We did not do the best of jobs of getting back above 428. I did think it would come very close to that, and I said to watch to see if we get a rejection. Instead, we came short of that and we rejected already. So this could be suggesting 420 could be coming. And then Google, the same thing. We're continuing to look weak. We have a head and shoulders. We need to try to hold above 192. If we can't, we're looking for a move back down to 188. So that being said, I want to thank you all so much for listening. The VIX, I think, is primed for more upside. If you look at this on the 4 hours, looking strong. It's forming a nice base over here at the EMAs. So this is another confluence that suggests that this could break out because the market has downside potential. So to me, I think that the market looks bearish overall. I think that the bears are, they have a bigger edge. There is going to be a risk of them dipping the market lower as time goes on, looking at the head and shoulders. So just be careful. We have not lost critical support yet on Tesla or SPY. Tesla's still holding support at this 414 area. Oh, and by the way, we have this resistance to watch for at the 420 zone. But I just want to say that I'm not going to focus too much on Tesla's technical analysis for now, because what matters more is going to be deliveries, and that's when you could actually put technical analysis aside and focus on what the numbers suggest. Because typically Tesla will react the way Wall Street wants it to, and does not always align with what technicals suggest. That's why you want to be very, very patient with this and be a little bit careful, guys. I know deliveries are coming out, so you want to be very careful with that, especially if you're holding positions. So it's your choice. You can make a lot of money either way, whether you try to like exit positions or if you try to enter them. It's your choice, whatever you guys want to do. I'm just here to give you guys the information. Thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your day and peace out.